Sandlash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I am not alone. I am joined by Hell, Hades. Hades, it's been a while, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, yeah. Thanks for having me on again. It's always a blast when we get together, so...
It is, my friend, and we've been chatting already for a bit of time here. We had the first part of this collab, or the second part, I guess the order doesn't really matter that much, on Hades' YouTube channel. We're going to go over every single epic champion in the game, who we would max, no questions asked. So the best of the best epics, and we'll give a few honorable mentions along the way. We went through Bannerlords, High Elves, Sacred Order, Barbarians, all the way down to Skinwalkers on Hades' channel. We're going to kick things off, Hades, with Orcs. Why don't you go first, man? You're the special guest. You're the guest of honor.
Yeah, I love it. So the first one for me, we're going to throw out Duke the Pierced.
Okay, all right.
Please, do not do this.
Is Duck the Pierced.
Duke the Pierced.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
So he's got an AoE drop attack and defense on his A2 with a 3-turn cooldown if you book it. That alone would be worthy of like instant max. Such a great ability. But then you've also got, now this is where it gets a bit more interesting. So we've got decreased accuracy on his A1, which could be really useful for stuff like Bommel or Hydra. And then his A3, I maxed this guy on a free-to-play I did, thinking I'll just turn the A3 off all the time.
Yeah.
And you know what I kept doing? I kept finding myself using the A3 in like these clutch situations to stop my team from dying. And even better now that you can provoke that head of decay in Hydra, and basically this guy can just kind of help you keep that head of decay in check. So yeah, for me, Duke the Pierced, really cool champion.
Yep, totally agree. He would be my top choice, I think, in the Orcs faction. All right, so on number after that, oh, by the way, I should tell my viewers that we have a very high bar here. This is like for every account we would max, no questions asked. I will go with, I think I'm gonna go Sandlash Survivor. Sandlash Survivor, really, really good champion. She has a provoke on the A1, on the A2, and AoE would decrease the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn, increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn, on a 3-turn cooldown. We just talked about it on like 3 champions on your video, but this is one of the most underrated abilities in the game, and this skill has, again, the decrease of enemy buffs and increased duration of all ally buffs. Fantastic, really anywhere in the game. Obviously, clan boss, Hydra, like longer battles, fantastic. You can always have those buffs up. And then we have Ally Protect. Whenever, this is a passive. Ally Protect
passive,
all allies for 2 turns. When an ally drops, HP drops below 50%. Also plays block damage on this champion for 1 turn. This is on a 4-turn cooldown. It's fantastic. It also makes her viable for even, arena, right? So on a go second team in the arena, she's fantastic. And she has defense in all battles on the aura as well.
Yeah, I will say, like, this champion, I don't know if you saw the actually you did see it, the Deadwood Jedi Clan Boss Challenge.
Yes.
She was part of my draft, and actually my team was lucky enough to win. She was massive in my team. That passive there, in terms of like just letting you run for another few turns, because it cools down on 4-turn cooldown. I was basically getting that to cool down every time the Clan Boss was going to do a stun. She protected the stun target and just kept him in the game. Yeah. Over and over again. She is just a very underrated, awesome epic champion. Yeah, I really like her.
Yeah, she really is. Okay, I'll let you do the obvious choice.
Is it you? Is it you?
Or who do you have? Who do you have?
Yeah, so I've got
Is it me? Is it me?
I got to pick Seer.
It's me, bitch.
Come on. The best wave clearer in the game.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. She does a lot of work on bosses. She does a lot of damage, but her A3 skill is one of the best skills in the game. And the cool thing about her A3 is she actually doesn't need accuracy to do a big wave clear. So you can actually build a full damage, get the accuracy, and just go, 100% crit rate, rip off everyone's buffs on your own team. She will just sit down the entire enemy wave. If you want her, though, to do buff ripping of enemies and sleep them and stuff, then yeah, you do need some accuracy in a kit. But honestly, such a useful champion just for this skill. The rest of her kit, honestly, it's not that good.
No.
Like, the rest of her kit's okay. And AoE weaken, it's not bad. Crit rate on your team, it's okay. She actually got pretty squishy defense and stuff. But because her A3 is so good, she is just one of the most sought after epics in the game.
So true, so true. I think I did a like top 10 epics, and I think I put her number 1, Hades, because
Did you? Yeah,
just because of
I
Karma
could see
Burn.
that.
I mean, like nothing in the game can replace this ability. I guess maybe like Eleanor, like Calvalak's team or something like that. But for the most part, I mean, Karma Burn is where it's at for saving hours, hundreds, thousands, millions of hours of cumulative time in this game for players. You know,
Big time. Big
all
time,
right.
yeah.
Anybody else here who's an automatic for you? I don't think so for me.
Not an automatic, no. There's a few other
shout-outs here.
good champions. Yeah, but
You want to do any? I think Vrask is definitely a really, really good healer. Relentless Gear is fantastic for this champion. Who else you got?
so I would
like
say
this guy.
Zardala. Zardala's
Yep.
a good AoE drop defense. She actually does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
She's got a pretty unique A2, which instantly activates her A3 if she kills someone, which is a really cool combo. The other one I would say, actually, who I've done a bit of work with recently is Torture Helm. Get him as part of the Raz Infusion if you go for that. He has just got a really fun passive. So I've used this guy solo in Dragon 25. I've used this guy in Unkillable Clan Boss teams. He's weird. He's not good, but he can do some funky stuff.
That's
so,
cool, though. I like the
honorable
shout-out.
mention. There's absolutely no way I would max him as like a first max, but yeah, he is kind of fun in a weird way.
Is that a compliment?
What is your favorite Torture Helm team? Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, well, I just run one actually with Helikath on Clan Boss.
Okay, all right.
And he was my kind of like stun target, which made my team unkillable. And so, you know, usually like the tower would have the same type of team. Basically, he's a stun target. The Clan Boss kills him. His passive just picks him straight back up. And then, you know, the rest of your team can just be full damage nuke because this guy's basically taking all the pain, which is quite cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
He's weird. He has his A1 based on attack and defense, and his A2 based on HP. That's interesting. He's got them all.
But
He's got them
his
all.
A2, if you actually look at it, so the damage is based on the amount of people that are dead in your team.
Yeah.
So the way he solos Dragon is the rest of your team is just food. They all go down. He keeps dying, and basically when he comes back up, he does his A2. He just explodes everyone. Like, everyone
it's hard.
died.
Yeah.
It's
I gotta check
weird.
that out.
It's weird and cool. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fun.
I'll give a shout out to Tuok the Wanderer as well. Like, I wouldn't say he's a no questions asked. He was part of like the Amazon Prime free epics from like 2 years ago. But overall, can put out a lot of damage and has an AoE decreased speed, which is nice and handy to have. Also has a stun in this kit. Just a decent damage dealer with an attack in all battles aura.
Yeah, fair one.
Okay. Moving on then to Demon Spawn, where there are a lot of good epics.
Tons of champions here, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll kick things off with, I guess, my personal fave, and that is Magnar. I mean, he's the boss. I know you probably love him too, right? You love Magnar?
Yeah,
Who
he's a
doesn't
cool
love
champ,
Magnar, man? I love just watching percussive pounds. Something about even the animation. It's just enjoyable, man. Just watching everybody go down to the mighty Magnar. Certainly one of the better Spirit Affinity nukers out there, even including legendaries. Like, I think only maybe Cleopatra I would put above him. Maybe a couple others I'm forgetting, maybe Yannicka. Either way, he's a beast, and he's HP based, so he's easy to keep alive. He can go on a go second team. He has a debuff spread as well. He's bringing a lot to the table. You can use him in Faction Wars and Doom Tower waves as well. But primarily for the arena is where I use this dude.
Yeah, and also like it just doesn't need any setup really, does it? Like the other big nukers, they need the increased attack to get the job done. Like this guy, there is no increased HP. He just does damage.
Yep,
yeah, he's just ready. He's like ready to go before anyone else. So cool champion.
Okay. Who you got?
Okay, look, I'm gonna call out Allure.
Yep.
She does things no one else can do.
True.
That's not what he meant.
Even like legendary. So her A, and it's all about her A1. Like her A1 is just a turn meter rapid fire cannon, like non-stop. 3 hits, every hit's dropping turn meter every time she crits. She does need accuracy, she does need crit rate, and she needs speed. So she's kind of stat hungry, and she's hard to keep alive. Yeah, so that's something to watch out for. But if you can control those things, then she will keep Fire Knight's turn meter down non-stop. She will be great in your Dark Fade team to keep that turn meter down. Basically, any time where there's a single enemy, she's the best champion in the game to keep the turn meter down.
Absolutely.
So, and she does have an AoE sleep potential. She does have this kind of hard hitting A3, which But you don't really build for those things unless you've got crazy gear. And that's, other than that, you're just like, no, A1, I'll lock the other stuff out, thanks. All I want is your A1.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, a case can be made. She's the best, I would say, like Fire Knight champion in the game, or certainly in the conversation as well, you know? To your point, anywhere that you need, turn meter control against a single target. Okay, next up, I will go with... I hope you agree with me here that she's a no-brainer. But I'm going to go with Umbral Enchantress. Umbral's so cool, dynamic, unique. She has a 2-turn provoke, which is fantastic for the arena. She's a defense-based champion, easy to keep alive. And then on the A2, kind of a new use case of Umbral is for Hydra Clan Boss. Again, we talked about how much block buffs is so crucial to Hydra Clan Boss, and she has it for 3 turns, 100% land rate on a 3-turn cooldown. You can basically keep it up all the time until they cleanse it, right? So, very, very interesting kit. Big fan of Umbral Enchantress.
And it's worth saying as well now, a 2-turn provoke on 100% chance as well. It was almost like lifted her value for Hydra even more.
Yes,
because she can now give some benefit to that Head of Decay and stop him doing all of the cleansing. So yeah, I totally agree, man. I always loved her before as a kind of like quirky outside use case arena champion, but even more so now.
Yep. With Hydra Clan Boss, for me, she's an auto max. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I said there was a lot of good champions, and there are, but are they, no questions asked, good champions?
I've got one more that I would, no questions asked, Achak, the one, the Wendering.
I knew it, yep.
Yeah, but this, like, for me, I love this champion's kit. I think it's such a cool kit. Pair him with an HP burner, a spider, and you've got yourself, like, the combo you need, basically. So his A3, he's playing the AoE freeze, and then the burns are out there from someone else. Then his passive will kick in, and basically he's your healer. He's filling everyone's turn meter. He's your freeze. He's also got actually good buffs on his A2 as well. Strengthen and block debuffs. Like this champion is solid. Really, really good.
I agree. It's got the defense really aura in all battles as well. I lean on him. He was one of my first epic pulls in my free-to-play account, and boy, I lean on him hard, But you're right. I'm sure you've seen him and probably done a video on him and like Mordecai paired on Spider 25. It's insane watching the synergy there. So that's a good call out there. I think for me, there's no auto max after who we've spoken about, but there's a lot of good champions. So just a few call outs for me. I could probably be here all day because I think there's...
Can we go faster?
This is top speed.
Soul Drinker's decent for a bomb champion. Vildrax is pretty interesting. Nizana is pretty good. Padma is good as well. I had a lot of fun with Skimfos, the Consumed, but in Gorlo's Hellmob, those are... I mean, there's almost all these champions, right? Yeah, what about you? Like, who's your favorite?
We haven't mentioned Akoth yet from Doom Tower.
True.
And I don't think he's an instant max because actually all of his kit is just fine at level 50. Like you can do Spider 25. He's a full AoE HP burner, and technically a free champion to get if you do Doom Tower for a while. And he's actually one of the best champions in the game to just burn up the Spider late game. So. I think he's definitely an instant 50, but as I say, you don't really use him elsewhere, and you don't really need him at 60 to do it. So just a call out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, his Spider 24, especially with the affinity, he can just burn better than I want to say almost anybody out there. So I agree with you there. Okay, cool. Sure. Moving on to Undead Horde. You guys can let us know all the names that we forget, all the snubs. Let us know in the comments below. Okay, Undead Horde, kick things off, man.
Yeah, so I'm going to call out Husk.
Okay.
So Husk was always one of my unsung heroes, and didn't really get a lot of playtime, I would say. But Hydra's popped up. Now he's kind of front and center, and he does work. He's got AoE enemy max HP still on his A2, which has also got a chance to lay stuns for wave-based content, which is quite unusual for an epic. He's got that provoke A1, which can just kind of come in clutch on things like faction wars, or again Hydra if you use him for Hydra. And this is one of those champions where, he's kind of best in high damage reflex gear. Just turn his A3 off. His A3 pretty much useless, and just try and get his A2 back as many times as you can.
Totally.
But very simple kit, but it's effective. Like Spider as well. If you've got an affinity issue on Spider, where maybe you're trying to run a Royal Guard that's just not working, Husk can step in and just do almost the same level of damage. Not quite the same, but he brings a stun along with it. So I really like this champion.
Yep, I totally agree, especially with Hydra. You asked me a question on your channel about counterattack. I'm going to ask it to you. They have not added any like just raw enemy max HP champions. I know like Calvalax and some other champions.
Yeah, it's probably the last one.
Do you think that we need another enemy max HP, or do you think we kind of got it covered already right now?
So I think we got plenty of them. I think we got quite a few.
Yep.
Unless they change the mechanics for 21 to 25 to make them more useful again, I understand why they're not releasing, because there's just a bad sentiment. You've got Septimus, used to be one of my favorite champions in the game, now just sits in a vault, and it's and they kind of nerfed it into the ground a bit. They're still used obviously for end game stuff, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against legendaries coming out with a skill. I think it's a really fun skill to have. All of a sudden you'd get some big numbers coming into the game, which is always funny to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't be against it at all. You've got an Armago who's one of the best uncommons the best uncommon, and up there with a lot of epics and legendaries, to be fair.
Yeah.
Mainly because of that skill and his A1 together. So,
Exactly.
I definitely feel like there should be more, but they kind of need to rethink what they've done to that group for me.
No, I agree with you, and I would love to see, even, dare I ask, a rare, like another rare added with the enemy max HP. It'd be really, really cool. Next up, I'm going to go with my personal favorite. I actually have a couple favorites here.
A couple of good ones here.
Yeah, I'll go Vogoth. I mean, this guy's just a maniac. He's got a triple hitter on his A1. Great for Giant Slayer, extra damage, HP-based champion, an AoE provoke at a, 75% chance. Not too bad. Also has decreased attack on targets who receive that provoke. But really, it's about his passives.
It's about his passives.
I mean, I didn't even have to name or list off his other skills, because he is one of the best healers in the game, certainly for Go Second teams in Arena. He really opened up, I think, Hades, Go Second potential and capability for a lot of players out there, right? An epic player who's just like, when you get attacked, he heals everybody. As long as they're not dying, he's healing them by 50% of the damage received. And then he's also placing a leech debuff on the attacker. Makes him good for longer battles against bosses as well. Overall, just a very, very, in hindsight, a necessary addition to the game that I think helps a ton of people out.
Yeah, he's also kind of like most people's best answer to Bommel, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's true.
Until you've got Vogoth, it is slim pickings to be able to survive through those bombs exploding. So, Vogoth kind of gives you a chance. Yeah, unless you're doing some sort of solo champion type of strat, Vogoth basically brings you in to have a chance to survive those bombs. So yeah, for me as well, would have been easy top two.
Okay. Who you got next? I think I know.
Seeker.
I knew it.
Seeker, again, actually got a passive which is pretty similar to what you're saying there. It opens up Go Second Arena teams.
Yep.
So, pretty much anyone who's hitting you in the arena should be hitting you with a crit. And when they do, he actually procs an increased defense, which will spread across your team. As long as he's at the front of the order, so if he's your leader or second, he'll spread that increased defense before they actually get hit. And that's huge. So it just means that they're going to basically survive that first strike and have a chance to have their kind of retaliation. So I really like this passive. It's fun for arena. And then he's also got this A2 where, again, quite unique, that he will put a turn meter fill out and then he'll get another turn. So it's almost like the cooldown has reduced an extra turn.
Yep.
Just makes you able to run really fast clan boss teams going on like a 2-for-1 cycle, or just kind of generally speed up your runs a lot in most content. But yeah, Seeker is actually top tier epic for me.
I agree. I mean, we wouldn't have any Bat Eater, Batman, Bat anything without Seeker,
all these
obviously.
bats,
And I love how dynamic he is in the arena. I mean, you mentioned it, but he can be on a Go Second team, or he can be your speed booster for a Go First team. You come back in, you provoke an enemy. I mean, Seeker is a great champion. I'm gonna go with a champion that actually makes me think of you, man, and it's Mausoleum Mage. I think I told you this before, but this is what? This is
Bullshit.
Like, this is one of the first videos I ever seen on your channel, right? And it was you doing a guide on him as like the biggest sleeper epic in the game. Now, you know, a few years later, the cat is out of the bag on this champion, but he is tremendous, man. Like, he is... I mean,
he brings so much.
How could people not see, you know, this is the beginning days of Raid, right? How could people not see how good this dude is? He has decreased speed on his A1, right? 50% land rate, solid. Then he has increased crit rate, increased defense, and block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. Amazing. Great for activating Seer, but just great in general, right? And then he has a cleanse. He has a cleanse and a heal and turn meter fill, dude. Like, that is, I mean, that's an insane kit. It's a really,
he's got so much going on.
Yeah,
he's got so... And the other thing with him is, like, this A2, I mean, there's just not many epics that can throw out 3 buffs, all of them top tier buffs on a 3-turn. Like, that is, it's a legendary ability there, that A2.
It really is. It really is, you know? So, yeah, I mean, he's a definite no-brainer for me. Okay.
Awesome.
Who do we have next? Do you have anybody else?
So, I guess I'm struggling for another no-brainer.
Okay.
And... there's a couple, it depends where you are in the game. Like, you know, if you're earlier game, Dordrab's a no-brainer until you get Arbiter, and then he kind of sits on the sidelines a bit. I guess Darko Hayne is the closest I've got to a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I know, I'm actually going to pass Darko Hayne to you. So I know that you love this champion and you've used her a lot.
Okay.
So, but she's as close as I've got. But I feel like there's a lot of damage dealers that do similar damage. But a kit or a passives are really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can take her. You can. It's okay, man.
All right, let me do it. Let me go for it.
You got it, dude. Like, yeah. Tell us why she's special.
She's basically got an absolute cannon of an A2.
Yes.
And that's set up by her passive. So if someone tries to freeze her, she'll wipe that off, and then she'll explode with the A2 right back at them. And if you've got champions like Tormund throwing the freezes out, she's pretty much the best counter to a Tormund in the game. I've certainly seen some fun stuff in the past. I think Stu Gaming actually ran 2 of her and basically got to like really high level plat just by facing Tormund teams, you know, back when Tormund was real meta. And that's pretty much it. But it's a really cool ability, you know, it's a really cool skill. And she does unleash some sort of crazy damage for a free to obtain champion.
Yeah, absolutely. I would max her, no questions asked, just for an anti-torment option, right? And if I was in progression, I would use her, you know, an ice golem. Like, you just got to make sure you can keep her alive, right?
So a question for you then. So my free to play, I'm only at like 560s. I've just got her, and I've got Gaelic already doing my arena damage. If you're in my place right now, do you max her right now, or do you kind of be like, she's on the back burner, but she will be maxed?
Yeah, I'd probably wait. I would max her, but probably not as like the 5th or 6th champion on the account. Like, who else do you have in the running? Yeah,
no, I've got a few good ones. I got like my Fane from a clan boss and stuff. But I was just curious because I do feel like Gaelic lacks a punch a bit, and
she's a massive upgrade. Yeah, massive upgrade. I mean, this Death's Majesty hits. I mean, she has the self-increase attack too, which is I don't know,
nice, actually.
And the decreased speed there too. I mean, that's a handy ability. And you can build her, like, you have the luxury of building her with like attack percentage boots on for the arena and just having her smack, because if you're using the freeze strategy,
like the anti-freeze,
it doesn't matter, you know, how fast she is necessarily. So anybody else that we didn't mention? I guess that's it. I think we covered everybody.
I think that's the kind of the must go to.
Yeah. All right, Dark Elves time. Here we go. I'll kick things off with Madame Ceras. I mean, we don't have to spend a lot of time on her because we probably talked about her, you know, endlessly. But Midnight Ritual, even though they nerfed it 1 less turn or whatever, it's still the best. I mean, it affected nothing about why she's so incredibly good, and that is the arena. She is still the queen of arena debuffers because she's removing all buffs from enemies, then placing decreased attack and defense. Also, her trick or treats. The rest of her kit is really, really cool, synergistic as well. I won't read the whole thing, but she's stealing buffs. She's placing fears. She's got shield, self-shield. She's just fantastic.
Yeah. She's annoying to play against. Like, she's so good on your team. She's so annoying to be against. Totally agree, man. Totally agree.
Absolutely. Who you got?
So I'm going to run to Dark Kale here.
Yeah.
And this is going to be someone that's difficult to get. I don't even have him on my main because I don't do normal Doom Tower that often. And this is like, if I could just pick one of the normal Doom Tower epics and then forget the rest that were in the path, I'll just be going like, I'll pick Dark Kale and then I'll do it every single day
Yep.
that I can do it until I get this guy. Like he
Yep.
is a great epic. He's just difficult to get hold of. But yeah, I mean, he does a ton of work in terms of damage. He's got AoE decrease attack. He's got poison sensitivity. Yeah, there's tons going on, and he can play in some of the best, end game Ice Golem, end game Dragon running. He could be in your clan boss setup. It's just difficult to get hold of.
Yeah. I know a website, you may have heard of it, hellhades.com. Ever ring a bell?
I've heard of it, yeah.
I know a website that ranks him #1 epic in the game.
Stand by that.
I think that's a great choice, by the way. Yeah, he's a monster, man. He's fantastic. Yeah, but I agree with you. It's almost like I wish we could just get Doom Tower fragments, normal fragments or hard
definitely.
fragments.
Pick the
and there's
one
a
that's
shot,
most relevant to your account instead of, I've already got a burner, but I've got to get this burner first, and then I've got to do that. It's just kind of like, there's so many of them now.
Yeah, think about the people just starting right now. It's just like, I'll see you in 2 years, man. Like,
good luck.
I'll go next with, I think I'm actually going to go with another Doom Tower champion, Ryan the Conjurer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Ryan is fantastic. She's got some similarities to Madame Ceras. You can use her in the arena because she's also removing all buffs from all enemies, 100% land rate, and also has the big version of Weaken, so really complements in some ways the reverse of what Ceras has. However, 25% Weaken, fantastic for extra damage. She has a revival as well, and then she has block buffs on her A1. This is 75% block buffs. Not too bad for an A1 ability. Accuracy in all battles helps a lot of players out. She's also a Doom Tower normal champion, but she's the third, so not as long as Dark Kale. So yeah, I think that Ryan is a really solid. She has that synergy too with Urost and Akoth, which you don't really see many people running them together, even if they do have them all, but still kind of fun to have in her kit. A2, really.
Totally agree, man.
Yeah,
Totally
Hydra
agree.
Clan
Like
boss,
you say, it's like another type of Madame Ceres type champion, and probably just as good actually in a different situation.
Whoa. Ceres?
Yeah, I think that A2.
No. You say Ceres, not Ceras?
Madame Ceres is what I say. Yeah, Ceres.
Oh, wow. So you have like is that how the French say it? Is that how you're supposed to say it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's how you're supposed to say it. Mate, I get these wrong all the time.
So do I. But this is riveting content here for the Madame Ceres. It makes sense though. It makes sense.
Madame Ceres.
Madame Ceres.
Madame Ceres. Yeah.
But yeah, Serene Dismissal, like that's an insane ability.
Yeah.
I agree with you. All right, who do you have next, Hades?
So I really love Sylar.
Yeah.
Just such a kind of like turn meter. She's actually one of the best turn meter control champions in the game.
Yeah.
So the A3 ability, it throws out the decreased speed on all enemies, pushes back their turn meter as well. If you're using her as your like go second champion in the arena, you can build your damage deal in your nuker very slow and still guarantee a hit, which is incredibly fun to do. Also, just great for stuff like Spider, trying to keep those Spiderlings in check. That books down to a 4-turn. Run her in some sort of control set, like a stun set or a taunt set, something along those lines as well. And then the rest of her abilities are AoE hits. So yeah, she's also got that kind of decreased accuracy. Speed in Faction Crypt is okay, but really it's the A3 which I love, and just kind of like wrecks enemies.
What the is going on in here on this day?
Yeah, love me some Sylar, totally agree. And she's a champion that like I feel like when I maxed her late into the game,
right?
And she almost surprised me. Like over, how sometimes you see their kits and then you see them in action, and you're like, wow, she's like really good, So I totally agree with you.
The thing is, like,
you
push someone's turn meter back 40% and then put decreased speed on them at the same time.
It's mass. Yeah,
it's almost like you've pushed their turn meter back to like 20%. It's such a massive impact. So yeah, she's really cool.
Totally agree with you there. Okay, so I guess that's all my no-brainers, but I will give my favorite, and there's a few here, but my favorite out of all the all borderlines is Caden. And I think you like this guy too, right?
Yeah, Caden's good. Yeah, he is again, I got him on my free to play. I got him at level 50.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, should he be my next 60? Should he be my next? And there's always someone who's just a bit more important to me to max. Mm-hmm. But he is really good.
Yes. Yeah. Anybody that you have here?
So I wouldn't. There's no other no-brainers for me, but I would just call out Crimson Helm as you know, if people really cannot do Bommel, Crimson Helm can kind of do some funky solo strats. And I would call out Spider as well, actually.
Yep.
You know, for his namesake, he gives you AoE, decreased defense, and weaken, and an AoE decrease. Like, he's got so much in his kit. This guy's never talked about, and he's actually a really good champion. You know, speed in dungeons 25%. He's really just a cool dungeon debuffer, but his weakness is the duration of his A3.
Yep.
5 turn, if you book it, is just too long in like today's gameplay, really. But
it really is.
You know, if you're struggling for this type of ability, he's got a lot in his kit. He just does it too slow.
Yep, totally agree. Totally agree. Be a fun champion to do a guide on, though. I have never built Spider. I'll give a shout out to Lua as well. Obviously, really solid champion. She has extra damage and AoE potential on the A1, a 3-time hitter with a heal on the A2, and then a 100% turn meter on the A3. Very good champion. There's a lot of good champions here, you know. I guess we could probably name almost all of them. Captain Tamila is also pretty good. 3-turn cooldown, increased defense, and a heal. Stay in the fight ability alone is really solid. Then she has Ally Protect on a 4-turn cooldown. Really good support champion. So I would say, you know, but you can run some of these champions, again, to your point earlier, at level 50 and still get a lot of use out of them, you know?
Yeah. And she would kind of fall into that group for me.
Okay. Knights cool. Revenant then. All right.
The Knights.
I think you're up first.
Yeah. Well, I'll crack off with, well, I'll tell you what. Skull Crown. Skull Crown was actually the first Void epic that I ever got, and I maxed it really early.
Void epic. That's a good first.
And she did so much work for me right through the game. But you know, continue to use her in Faction Wars as an absolute cannon of a hitter. She's got AoE A1 and A2. She brings you AoE weaken. She's got a really good passive. That's the kind of thing I like about her most. Is you know, she just won't die until she gets another hit. So if you've got her in your arena team, certainly for like early to mid game where people can't really deal with this, she gets into that unkillable state. She's just waiting to strike. They think they've won the game, and then she explodes everybody up. And, you know, just like it's carnage, and she wins you the round. So she wins you fights you shouldn't win, basically. And yeah, good speed aura as well for arena. Just a really fun, pure damage dealer.
Absolutely. You know? Yep. Agree with everything that you said. I will go with... I'll go with one of the obvious choices. There's a few obvious ones here. I'm going to go with Miscreated Monster. I feel like Miscreated Monster is still a boss. He was added to the game with like Harvest Jack and Madame Ceres as well. I really like this dude. I don't use him as much anymore, but I still think for like 99% of accounts, he's an automatic max. He has a stun and decreased defense on the A1 if the stun is placed, which kind of sucks. Can't use it against bosses, but still nice to have. An AoE, this is what he's kind of like known for. His 3-turn cooldown, a stun with a shield based on the damage inflicted, 25% against like Spider. He's one of the best Spider supports out there in the game. Same thing with Ice Golem. Just a tremendous champion for that ability. So you get the stun and a great shield, one of the better in the game, and then Ally Protect as well, and then has that really cool synergy with the Fears, throwing out every time an ally is attacked while under the Ally Protect. A really interesting kit, a really strong champion.
Yeah, and he's actually one of these champions. If you get him early game to mid game, you put him in your arena defense, and he becomes basically unkillable.
Yeah,
like for,
you know what? That's
for
a good
earlier
point,
players,
right?
he's really difficult to deal with. For early accounts. But yeah, as you say, later game Spider, he just rips it apart.
Absolutely.
Great champ.
All right, who you got next here?
Okay, so I'm going to go with Rector Draff here.
I love it.
Great healer. You know, she's actually, I think for some of these kind of link type accounts, you can actually get her as a freebie when you start the game, which is what a champion to get as a freebie when you start. Her passive just keeps your team topped up of health all the time. She's got, you know, a really good heal on her A2 alongside Veils. She's got a really good revive on her A3, single target, but it's with a good amount of health and a good amount of turn meter and a Veil, so it hides that champion from future damage. Decrease attack A1, good resistance aura as well for Doom Tower. Just a really solid champion. It just makes your team incredibly tanky. This one champion, you become incredibly difficult to kill.
Absolutely agree with you. Rector is, I mean, and even like her base speed, her base stats are like really solid.
Really good.
She's really a good champion. I mean, there's not that many options in the game really for perfect Veil champions, right? Especially Epic, you know? I think she's the best. She's the best Epic, right? She's the only Epic I want to say that has, So
definitely the best Epic.
Really, really, really good. Couldn't agree more. I'll go with okay, I'm not sure if she's a no-brainer, so I'll go with the real no-brainer in Doom Priest. I mean, we don't even have to say much about Doom Priest, but the bolster passive is just so unique.
That's it.
It's got the
Just
heal.
the passive's so good.
Remove a random debuff. I run her in Relentless. She's removing debuffs all over the place, and just a fantastic champion. And I guess only to be bested by Tawana Rock, and you can even make the argument she's not bested because she has the heal and Tawana Rock doesn't.
Yeah, it's just different, isn't it?
Yeah,
but both insanely good for their own reasons. But
Indeed. So yeah, Doom Priest.
So one I would call out here, definitely as a must max, certainly until perhaps you got something better, but Tylesia.
Yep, that was the one that I was thinking about. Yep.
Yeah, like AoE decreased defense A3 on a 3-turn, but actually doesn't need any books to be 100% chance to land decreased defense, which is really rare to get in a champion.
Yep.
She's got another AoE on her A2 with the kind of, increases the duration of all debuffs on enemies. I just feel like she's not quite up there top tier, but she is damn good. She applies hexes as well, which I think that's probably why I wouldn't put her as top tier, because hexes at the minute aren't really like stable in the game. They're just not really used.
Yeah.
So that would be the only kind of downside for me. But
a debuff that does nothing, Hades. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
It's like unless you're in the club, unless you're in the kids club, like you don't get anything from it. So, but her A3 is pretty decent. But yeah, I don't know if she's like a must max. Depends if you've got other champions of that type, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for a Force Affinity, decreased defense champion, and you're also looking for a ton of damage with decent, solo HP, which is interesting at 12k. But the defense makes up for it a little bit at 1k, but she can deal a ton of damage as well. So I love her for that reason. I would say Sepulture Sentinel. Again, it really depends a little bit on what you need, but for a while she was the queen of Clan Boss.
Yeah, she was a bit like a Tyrell, right? She was like the go-to bus max.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I think has fallen off a little bit as the meta has shifted, but still, I mean, that passive is really, really effective, really good. And then she has increased defense and block debuffs as well with the defensive aura. So overall, and decreased attack in her kit too. So she really has everything you need for a Clan Boss. So I guess I will give her a shout out. Anybody else here?
So I'll definitely shout out Sandlash. Again, maybe not like a must max straight away, but she does bring you a lot. She brings you AoE A1, which is quite rare in the game. She's got the chance to put an enemy's skills on cooldown, which is really rare as well. And then she's got a very interesting heal, where she, instead of a heal, she manages everyone's HP to the same level and then heals someone with the lowest HP. It's a very cool healing ability, actually, especially if you've got high HP champions within the team. She basically just spreads it out again and gives you a lower HP champs almost like a full heal, basically. So yeah, she is really good, actually. She's a really good underrated epic, but and does a fair amount of damage for someone who's got such a low base HP as well.
Yeah, a great companion champion to Skullcrown. And I agree, I had her on the screen already. I was going to mention her if you didn't, but I agree with you 100%. She's that immortality A3, that heal, to your point, that's one of the better heals in the game, like AoE heals,
Yeah, it's one of those where you're reading it, you're like, I'm not really sure, is it good or not?
Is it good or bad?
It's really good.
And you're like, oh, it's a complete heal. I got it. Okay. Other than that, I would say there's no automatic here.
No, same.
Okay. Two more left. Here we go. Two dwarves. Not that many of them. I will start with the most obvious, Geomancer. I mean, where don't you use this dude, right? Where don't you use this dude? He's got the AoE decreased accuracy. He's got, everything in his kit is important and makes sense and synergizes with the rest of his kit, right? His A2, he's stealing. If they're under HP burn, he's reducing the cooldown of the A3 if they're killed. But removing all buffs from target enemy that attacking them, very handy, especially Hydra Clan boss, but really almost anywhere. And then fully depleting the target's turn meter, fills his champion's turn meter, the target loses. HP burn and weaken, 3 turns, 3-turn cooldown, and then of course, the Stone Guard passive, which he's known for. We're mitigating damage by 15%, deflects that back to HP burn. Not only is that a ton of damage, but it's
Yeah.
also we talked about this on your channel too. Like damage mitigation passives like this, I mean, so incredible.
So good.
And if you can get
Yeah.
a couple of these on the same team, I mean, it's really a game changer, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like having another champion who's just in there as a defensive protector.
Yeah.
This type of passive is so good.
So incredibly good. 30% on himself as well. So just overall, just one of the better epics in the entire game.
And what I'd say about this guy as well is because his damage comes through his passive, you actually don't need to build him for damage. You actually just build him to live. And as
That's
long as
it.
he's alive and can land his A3, he is doing insane damage. So, yeah, I mean, he's in tons of endgame teams for like really high level Doom Tower stuff, Hydra, like all of these things. He's one of the first on the team sheet ahead of legendary champions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Who do you have next?
Okay, so I'm going to go with the other really obvious one is going to be the Mytha.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably become queen of unkillable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got man-eaters up there, and she's probably the preference for a lot of people over man-eater now because she becomes, she needs to be quite fast, but you then just use a farmable rare to create the unkillable team and make it affinity friendly, which is so great to do.
Yep.
Yeah, basically known for her A3 here, which blocks damage. But the heal is almost inconsequential, honestly, because you're not taking any damage anyway.
Exactly, right?
And she's also got one of these abilities that increases your buff. So, you can start to run her in teams which run on a 2-for-1 basis because you can put an increased speed out and she just increases the duration of that. So actually it's almost like forever on. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't really hit. She doesn't really do anything other than create this insane unkillable setup. And then she's like, over to you guys. You do all the work. I'm just setting you up.
Yep.
But yeah, great champion.
A simple and very, very effective kit. Really great addition to the game. I will give I think that most people may disagree with this one, but I'm going to say Cornelia.
Interesting. Weird champion, yeah.
Very weird, very weird. But just the fact that she can solo Bommel, she can solo... Who else can she solo? I think she can solo like a couple of champions, right? A couple Doom Tower bosses.
Yeah, I don't know. Basically, I would just say, go see YST's channel.
Yeah.
He solos all sorts of stuff with
He
her.
solos every boss in the game. He solos clan boss, you name it. Using her kit to solo very difficult Doom Tower bosses, to me, justifies maxing her. You can also use her in the arena as kind of like a mini Prince Kaimar if you want to make her fast. She has good base speed at 109. So you can make her really fast, go in, sleep, CC the enemy team. That way you can make, like, maybe you have Arbiter boosting your team. You only have to make her fast, Cornelia, really fast, and then give extra time for your debuffer and your nuker to go. So, yeah, I think there's extra utility you can have around her as well, but I would build her just for the soloing Bommel, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Anybody else here?
So I'm struggling for another must max here.
Yeah.
There's good champions. There's
a lot of good ones.
Most of these dwarfs are good, right?
Yeah,
Most of them are good. But I'm like, would I put anyone else in the must max? I'm struggling for that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would.
Yeah, same. I mean, Melga's incredibly good.
Yeah.
Rock. I mean, we could name all the names pretty much to your point, right?
Yeah,
I
all
love
of them are good.
Rockbreaker, Grizzly
pretty
Jarl.
much.
Yeah. I like Runekeeper.
Runekeeper is cool. Yeah. He's a good champion, and he's a bit underrated as an epic.
I agree.
But would I put him in my must max? He's almost like a mini Arbiter, which is probably why he gets, just kind of passed up because Arbiter does what he does.
Yes.
Just a bit better.
Yeah, rear guard, pretty good. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's really, it depends on what you need. I think a lot of them are situational. So moving on to Shadowkin, the final faction. You are up, Hades, sir.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick out one of my faves here. Taradi the Frog.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking for this guy for so long on my main account.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I was really after him because he was basically the final piece in a cool clan boss team that I wanted to build. And I eventually got him and built my best, at that point, my best ever clan boss team. Like, he made that much of a difference. And that's as an epic, So it becomes crazy when these epics are coming in to help you create the best thing you've ever done in the game.
Right.
But yeah, basically we've got a decreased attack A1, which is pivotal for clan boss. It's pretty much for me. He's mainly a clan boss champion, but can do some other stuff. He's got a provoke on his A2, which is quite good for some like general control. But then he's got this shield ability with reflect damage, with ally protection, with healing. Like his A3 is just so many things going on. and he's got a cool
isn't
passive
it
as well.
crazy? Isn't it crazy
Like,
that he has all that on a 3-turn cooldown?
So good. Yeah, it's madness, honestly. This
With that
A3
passive? Yeah.
is kind of crazy, yeah. And then passive is cool. Basically, when he's taking hits, he's putting out poisons. Can end up becoming one of like the best poisoners in the game.
Yeah.
If you're against something like Affinity Clan Boss, where the AoEs actually hit you 4 times instead of 2, each hit has got a chance of placing one of these poisons. You know, you can end up just filling that debuff bar with poisons pretty comfortably with just this guy. So, yeah, he is a beast of an epic.
I imagined you could just throw him kind of like Uros. You could just throw him in Regen and Immortal, and you could solo Scarab King as well, you think?
I guess no reason why not. I've never done it, but
yeah, I haven't done it.
No reason why I wouldn't
maybe
be
I
able
will.
to. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I will go with... I'll go with Genbo, the Dishonored. I mean, I think that he's unless you have like Leorius the Proud and Trunda and like you're just stacked with nukers, he's one of the best arena nukers out there. So it does depend a little bit on what you have. Can help you out as a damage dealer, obviously, in anywhere you need him, right? But he's a Void Affinity, so you don't have to worry about that. Increased crit rate, increased crit damage. The self buff and then grant an extra turn is just a great opening for the arena. And then a very, very hard-hitting Heartless Blitz ability. And you know, what's cooler than all of that, or what's as cool, is immune to decreased attack. Great. We'll ignore unkillable. Don't have to worry about Swift Parry. Don't have to worry about Skull Crown, Leorius the Proud. No worries as long as he's under increased attack, which again, he doesn't have. He has great crit damage and crit rate, but hopefully you have an Arbiter or something going ahead of him to give him that buff. So yeah, just a really, really good champion overall, nuker. Yeah,
he's a cool champion, and he does a ton of damage, and he's also like that anti-Swift Parry, anti-unkillable, really, really like useful champion. It's a bit like we spoke about Darko Hayne being the anti to any sort of freeze team. This guy is basically the anti to that Swift Parry meta or the unkillable champions that are around.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody here?
You know what, Ash? I'm struggling for another must max here. Okay. I think. Do you have more? Do you have more that you'd be like, yes, 100% should max these?
It's hard to say that I have 100%, but I have a very soft spot for Hatatsu.
So you know, some people come on my stream and they're like, "Oh, Hades, we think you're underrating Hatatsu on the website." And I had to, and they said, actually, I don't know if you've done a video or you just mentioned it in the video, but I was like, I need to go back and check this rating because I don't know. You know, there's a fair few people talking about it.
So let me try to sell you on it. Have you updated it?
I've adjusted upwards actually based on some of the feedback. Yeah, I'd take feedback on.
He's a good. I mean, like, listen, man. Is he an end game champion? No. Can he help? Is he like the best support in my opinion for Shadowkin Faction Wars? Out of Epic, certainly yes. Or I guess with Taradi the Frog, right? But he has a leech on the A1. He only takes about 150 books. That's the bad news, right?
Yeah, he loves to read. I think he gets hooked up by that big hook on the back of his head. I mean, and he just reads all day.
If you put that aside, he has an AoE decreased attack, 3-turn cooldown, 75%, damage based on defense, easy to keep this dude alive, and then he has increased defense and continuous heal, big version on a 3-turn cooldown. And then he has defense in all battles, great aura lead for, by 25% as well. He's also removing all CC debuffs from him at the start of each turn.
Yeah, passive score actually.
So handy there as well. So again, I mean, when you put it all together, the leech, the decreased attack, the increased defense, continuous heal, and the defensive aura, I think that he's like he's really close, but it's hard for me to say that like anybody must max him, but he's a really good champion, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of felt the same way a bit around Buren Giri.
Okay.
He's definitely, I wouldn't put him in a must max, but he's got that kind of like AoE stun A2, which is really unusual on an epic.
Stun, yeah,
it's a good like on a 3-turn cooldown. That is good to have, and then good buffs on his A3, like strengthen and shield.
Yeah, really
solid. Really good passive to fight Bommel, which is hard to do. Provoke on his A1's okay as well. Like, he's close, but for me, I couldn't be like, you must max this champion. You know, he's like one of the top tier. Yeah. He's kind of just under, you know, he's the next table down. He's like looking up, like, I just wish I had something else in my kit.
Right? What about Taya? Would you put her in?
Taya is...
She has decreased accuracy. She has a triple hitter with poison. And then she has instant activation of poison and HP burns on the target.
Yeah, it's quite fun actually.
Yeah, I haven't messed around with her yet. Actually, I don't even have her yet. My bad. So I'll get her on this rotation, I think.
Right.
But so I haven't messed around. But is that Blood Boil as good as it sounds? You think?
I mean, the Blood Boil sounds great. Again, I've not done any work
Yeah.
with her. I don't tend to do normal Doom Tower, so
Yeah.
only by what people tell me. But that skill can do a lot of work. You know,
Yeah.
activating burns.
I would
is
do a guide
really
on her.
strong way to do it.
I would do a guide on her when I get her, but then again, like I know that 99% of my audience probably isn't going to have her because who does Doom Tower every single day, right? You know, like,
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, man. But
Yeah.
I guess that concludes our official collaboration here. Again, there's
Awesome.
probably about a 40-minute video on Hell Hades' channel, guys. Make sure you go ahead and watch that right now. If you're not subscribed to Hell Hades, I mean, why aren't you? What are you waiting for? But go ahead and check out his channel as well. Hades, it's always a pleasure having you on, man.
Ash, thanks so much. It's been a blast as ever. Always good to get together because I always learn some new stuff as well, which is always that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah, hopefully
Every
our
day's a school
viewers
day.
did. Hopefully the viewers did as well, man. But yeah, thanks again. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, cool.
All
See you
right,
later,
guys,
man.
that's going to do it for the video. Thank you for watching. And as always, take care, guys.